somebody else because that's where Jews go to live, and they see it as their only place. That was a strategic error, I think, that Arafat had initially made when they modeled themselves after the FLN in Al Jazeera. The idea that, like, oh, if we fight hard enough and long enough, eventually these fuckers will go back, because they, because they view themselves as like Europeans and shit, and they'll leave. But they're not. They don't want to leave. The Jews that live in Israel, the Jews that went to Israel, that were living there, they don't see themselves as colonists of fucking Europe. They just see themselves as, oh, we return to our historic lands. We're going to just fight here until we die, I guess. So, okay.
And people, went to jail because of this. Qatar prevented discussing the abuse of human rights of the workers in Qatar, who were building all the facilities for the World Cup in soccer towards 2022, and they did not. They paid some Greek politician, a lady who served in the European Union, in order for her to make sure that nobody discusses the abuse of human rights in Qatar, because of the hundreds or thousands of people who died because of the heat in Qatar, and they were building the construction sites of these facilities of Qatar. Qatar is a state which buys academic institutions, buys politicians. They are one of the donors of the Clinton Foundation.
So he gets pretty wild when he starts getting into like foreign politics, like Europe and shit. I don't know how true this is of like some of these contributions. I do know that Qatar and Iran do have like decent like academic reach into the United States in like surprising ways, given the populations of those countries. I wouldn't expect there to be so many like professors or people from Iran. Iran, I think, has actually a specific name for this. Iran program, foreign schools. What do they call this? Fuck. I think there's a name or there's a program in Iran that tries to shoot like academics and stuff to other parts of the world. I don't remember the name of this. Fuck. I read this in an article that had to do with the guy that negotiated the Iranian nuclear deal. The thing he said about Qatar bribing European politicians, Jesus, is true. Look up Qatargate. Oh. Okay, I don't know anything about that then. I have no idea. Oh, thank you. Qatar corruption scandal at the European Parliament. An ongoing political scandal involving allegations that European Parliament officials, lobbyists, and their families have been influenced by the governments of Qatar, Morocco, and Mauritania. Mauritania? Oh, okay. I don't know anything about that. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Did you know that the Haganah brought Adolf Eichmann to Palestine? Nope. I know they brought your mom to my dick, though. Ooh.
Human bone shot? That did not look like a human. That's invisible. I hate invisible walls.
Sounds like it happened
so
in 1937.
Stupid. One of the worst things from software.
It's called the Iran Experts Initiative. Oh, wait, you just linked the exact article that I think I read on this. I don't know what this website is or if this is a good site or not. Semaphore. I didn't go over this on stream, did I? I think I just read this on my own. It's an interesting article with them trying to, basically just talking about how they, I guess, vie for influence internationally. But okay. Back here.
Fucked up.
This might be the reason why Hillary Clinton once said that our Qatari friends keep telling us that the Muslim Brotherhood are a peaceful organization. Peaceful organization. You know, the emblem of the Muslim Brotherhood are two swords, curved swords, two swords. One sword is for the hugs and one for the kisses. Okay? And this is a peaceful organization. And this is what she means. Our Qatari friends keep telling us. The money, Qatari money tells us to say this. And they buy politicians, they buy academics, and they buy But people in
Look at that
the
bell
media.
hodge.
And unfortunately, people like to be bought by Qatari
goat.
money because this money has no limit.
I remember what I was going to say about when you're writing about going into solutions in the West
Time
Bank
to get
and
look.
Gaza as well. You're not shy about saying that you think it's actually a good thing to
Oh
keep
my, this dungeon is
these
fat.
supposedly future
Oh.
emirate areas disconnected from each other through settlement expansion.
Why should they feel better about it?
Oh no, I just imagine a lot.
Magma worm.
Good for everybody.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that when you
Except for the
make the
thieves of the PA.
okay, when you make the rationale for that,
Oh
it seems to be like you
goodness.
tend to put as a security justification first, as in it gets rid of the threat. But then side by side with that, there's the other
wow,
argument
okay.
that, especially with Jerusalem, like you argue
I
that
fight that?
this has been our land for 3,000 years.
Security goes along with good
Be
economy.
brave.
Security
Show no
goes
fear.
along with good life.
Alright.
Security goes on with social stability, which is the basis of everything. It's a holistic
my
way how to look at things.
Jesus.
If you establish a state with many clans, many groups, they will end up fighting with each other. Just
No
like it
stake
is in
of
Syria.
America?
Because they will always fight
Oh,
who
this is
will lead
hardcore.
the conglomerate. Once every group has its own leader, its
First
own
strike
prime
riders.
minister, its own president, who will fight whom? What about? This is the idea that when a clan rules itself, it doesn't fight others.
Yeah,
It doesn't look for enemies. It doesn't need enemies.
Yeah.
Just based on what he recommended me, that's not true. Clans do look for enemies, especially in the Middle East. Clans were constantly looking
I did
to
get a stick in
expand,
America.
to extract more resources from
kill
neighbors,
that magma worm.
to basically gain advantages to boost their own status. So I
That's
don't know
what
why he
NPC
think that
fight.
just because they're restricted to a state, they wouldn't. If he believes that they're so heavily part of these
Am I
clan systems
medium
from
or am I
old Arab
light?
lives, I don't know why he thinks that it would stop at the borders of a state.
Nice.
But I don't know.
To create enemies in order to galvanize people under one aegis. They don't need it. Only countries like Syria
Yeah.
who are
yeah,
sharply
yeah.
divided inside between all kinds of divisions, they need external enemy. Why do you think Hafez Assad did not join Sadat in the peace which we signed with Sadat in 1979? Jimmy Carter promised Hafez
Damn,
Assad
this weapon
that
is so
if you join
cheesy,
this
and I
peace,
want his
you will get the
weapon.
Golan entirely.
I don't play fair with
Just
NPC
like
fights.
Sadat, who got
Damn, I
the
wish I
Sinai
used Rose of
Desert
Blood against that
entirely.
Farson mob.
You'll get the same thing. He didn't want it. Why? He needed Israel as an enemy in order to threaten his people. That if you don't come under my illegitimate aegis, the Zionists will come and kill you. And he didn't need a war. He needed a state of war with Israel. And that's why he didn't want the Golan back to that degree. He needed the state of war with Israel. And of course, because his personality was tarnished. He was accused in Syria in 1967, when they lost the
Cheating.
Golan, when he occupied the Golan. He was accused personally, but because of his behavior, the fact that he actually kicked out half of the officers of the army in 1966, when he took over the country with Salah Jadid, who was the first president of Ba'ath, he was actually accused personally for the loss of the Golan. And how do I know? He lost the Golan on June 10, 1967. In which day he died? June 10, 2000.
He's got dragon attacks? Not bad.
He couldn't take it anymore.
I wanted to ask you, hypothetically, if
Guitar?
let's imagine people in
Oh, gimme!
Palestinian territories
gimme.
decided to give up on what you call the clan mentality, and they decided to
Great
agree to
katana,
come under like a unified, like an actually unified national identity, and they would accept a state roughly on the Clinton parameters, 6-7 borders, and that security wouldn't be an
Oh, I
issue.
can wield it two
If-
hands.
You know, they
Sorry?
start to marry each other, regardless of clan.
Yeah, it's like just say, imagining. Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
but they
imagining.
said
Go on and then.
Yeah. So if this happens, would you be okay
Great
with
katana.
giving up the?
Again, I am
Oh,
looking
slash,
for the
how
group
about
one group
It's not
which can
piss.
carry a state, and not multiple
I don't like
groups like
this.
Syria and Iraq.
Movement sucks.
If I see in the
Impulsion.
future that a girl in Hebron can freely marry a boy from Nablus and vice versa, they don't, in these societies, they don't.
Again, I never heard this. I only asked one person. It was the guy who was giving me a tour in East Jerusalem and in Ramallah and in the surrounding
stab on
refugee
my back.
camps. I asked him
me
this question.
go
He said he'd never heard
really-
this before, which makes me, I don't know how true this is. That somebody from one of these cities couldn't marry somebody from another city.
This
I
leads
don't
to
know.
another
Just haven't heard this
area.
before.
Have marriages of boy and
Oh,
boy,
shit.
a girl and a girl. Okay?
Oh,
So this is why I
okay.
say, particularly, girl and a boy. We are still not there. If this happens in the future, I will
I
change.
didn't know
But so
that.
far, you cannot see one sex.
I was
marriage
wondering
in
how to get
Corey
him.
said he heard that a lot in his
how,
interviews.
How I get him.
this
How
place.
to
If
get
they
him.
want, they go somewhere else. Now, when I see that the clans
Of the jagged
Hebron
peak.
are marrying freely
Oh
with
my
the clans
God.
of Nablus and so forth, and actually
I
the
am
clan
here.
system dissolves
So I can do all this.
because of generations
and then I can get to
of
this
marriage
pink
between
shit.
clans.
Oh my.
It means the clan
How
system
much
is,
shit did I miss?
is
Have I even
diminishing.
been down there?
Then
I definitely haven't been
might
down there.
speak differently. But right now, since
Oh my god.
we want
I
to
haven't
solve
put
the
this
problem
away.
now, according to the givens, according to the characteristics of this society as it is now. we
This
have no
DLC
other
is
choice but
crazy.
the clan system.
That
which
was just
we carry.
him. All behind
Anyways.
that. I was
So to
evading
you,
that for
in
a
a
long
different
time.
world, you think, yeah, in this different world, it would be worth giving up land in the West Bank in exchange for peace?
Oh my.
When the situation changes and we
Don't tell me it's a
find
bonfire.
in front of
I will
us
quit if
another
there's a bonfire.
kind of
I will
people.
stop playing. No, it's the sheep.
we'll have a recalculation of the old accounts.
Even
But to wait
Fuck
until
you,
the
son.
Palestinian society
So
or
where should I
societies
go? It's the
Okay,
massive
because-
lake. I can go up
yeah,
here. Over
divide
there.
themselves.
I want to
If
go
this
down there.
Palestinian societies become one consolidated society, it will take maybe 300-400 years.
This DLC
No.
is so sick.
How do I know? Even in Israel,
It's the best DLC I've ever played in my life. There is no DLC
Arabs.
as good as this.
Most of them are Muslims, some are Christians, some are Druze,
Materials.
and you can see until this very
Shut
day, and we are
up.
talking about
That guy's
76
alive,
years
by the way.
of the existence of the state of Israel and their friction with us, and we are a very liberal society, individualistic society.
Jagged Peak
Means
Trade.
everybody mirrors whoever he
You know
wants.
I don't
he
like
or
dragon
she
fights,
wants,
huh?
regardless of anything.
Fucking
Okay?
find that.
Uh,
Generic
they
and boss
use
music.
us, they see us in the university, in the workplace, in the public sphere.
Get
we
the
are-
boss
we live
bar
with
off
them.
my screen. We're not fighting
You
him.
still see within the Arab sector in Israel how important the clan is
Imagine if it could fly.
in their life.
That would be incredibly,
And
incredibly
sometimes
bullshit.
it's how to understand. How
That's
come
logical.
people who
He's got a
speak
crossbow.
Hebrew,
That's cute.
fluently, because the work,
Red
because of the school,
bow.
because of the university, because of
Oh,
everything.
that's an iron. I thought that was a spell.
They go, like us in the vacations to the beach.
My
and
guess
they're
is
there
the
with
final
us in
boss
the
is gonna
movie
be here.
theater, in the opera.
At the
And
Jagged
they
Peak.
with us, almost
But maybe not. It could
many-
also be in the
especially
Lion
those who live in
Castle.
the cities. They are Israelized, I would say.
What are your thoughts on the recent directive by the Oklahoma State Superintendent that grades 5 through 12 must be taught about the Bible and 10 Commandments in class? Is there any chance it's even remotely constitutional? No clue. Sounds super cringe.
In the lifestyle. They didn't become Zionists, but they are Israelites in their lifestyle. Yet,
Oh,
in many cases,
shit.
a girl doesn't have an option to marry somebody
Gimme.
who's out of the clan. Because
So I need
they are
dragon
Muslim
hearts for this.
Still, less in the cities, more in the villages,
And I have
much more
none.
within the
Oh, I
bedrooms.
need
in the
Heart of Baal.
Okay, I'm
Baal's
curious.
Tyranny.
We'll 2x this as many
49
as I guess.
Arcane. Oh, I've got 50. Not bad. Not bad at all.
Would you marry someone from Gaza or Hebron?
Channels Dread Dragon to rule.
Palestinian
with
societies will
heat
travel particularly when it
wave
comes to marriage. I want to
blobs.
test this. Note that in Palestinian societies, it's expected that women
Which I can get with a.
it's still expected that women's fathers slash
Channels
family
Dread
agree to who
Dragon
she will
to
marry. Any woman is
strike
expected to move to
with
the
flame
area
lightning
her husband
infused
comes from.
talon bone.
That
Gotta
was
try
way too
these
fast.
out.
Hold on.
That's tight. Oh. And I need
بس تعرف
3
تتزوج حدا من الخليج أو من غزة؟
boyfriends.
لا
ليش؟ No.
Why?
يعني غزة الخليل لا.
Gaza, yes. Hebron, no.
No way.
Okay, so why Gaza? Yes.
They're in Ramallah. Is that where they're in right now?
Lish.
Because they have the sea.
Okay, it's actually it's a good reason. Second, why Hebron? No.
الخليل لا.
I said Manal.
Come on, tell us the truth. Let's go.
I don't know.
مشكلة.
اسمع بدي احكيك اياه بالعربي.
I'm gonna say them in Arabic.
لا بعرفش بس خلص هيك اراديا لا اراديا.
Let's see the sex.
انت عارف الخلايل.
Khudidi. You know the Hebronites. Tell me. He said no.
Okay, so translator, why do you think people in this area don't seem to
Ancient
like the
dragon
idea of marrying a
bows and-
Hebronite? Come on, someone's got to tell you the truth.
Because of the different mindset. They just think in a different way.
Okay, and from
We
what
consider ourselves a bit more modern than them in some ways.
okay, fair enough. And in your parents' generation or grandparents' generation, was it the same?
No, they would never marry somebody from outside their own village or town because they would prefer to keep everybody close.
True. Then it was harder to get around. So yes, the question was, would you marry someone from Gaza? And you said your parents wouldn't be happy.
Yeah,
Okay.
they will not agree. I don't think so.
You don't think they would allow you,
Yeah.
and you don't think you would. I can see this face initiative. Okay, well, at Hebron.
No.
Yeah. Why? Okay. Why Hebron? No. What's with Hebron?
Their thought I'm thinking is not north and south here in Palestine. Not have the same idea, the same thinking,
Okay.
same thought.
So people here in Nablus think differently than
Yeah.
people
here,
in.
so-
Okay, can you give me an example of something in Hebron that a way they think, which is backwards?
A girl here, maybe you can go to restaurant. It's very to
On her own or with friends?
with friends and light.
Yeah,
and,
true.
But in Hebron, I don't they will love it.
You're actually right. I was told
I
that too.
don't know. Maybe it's more than in village.
So girl can't go with her friends or on her own
Maybe
somewhere at
yes.
night. Okay. Would you marry someone from Gaza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, she said yeah. She shook her head and said yes. What is this?
I'm American, sorry.
Okay. So, which one do you mean?
She's actually blushing.
Okay.
It's your
cute.
opinion. There's no right and wrong answer.
Yeah, it's okay.
I know. It's my opinion. Yeah. If he Palestinian, yeah, why not?
Okay.
Like
Okay, so Gaza, Nablus, it doesn't matter where they come from. Would you marry someone not Palestinian?
my
Just
God.
curious.
Israel. But not Israel.
Oh, you'd marry anyone but Israeli.
Yeah.
Okay. She clarified. Arab.
Arab.
She has to be Arab.
I don't know. I can't say.
I'm not judging you.
No, I don't have no.
A problem with
Yeah.
non-Arabs.
مستعدين تتزوجوا حدا من الخليل أو من غزة؟ ليش؟ ليش؟ I would love to go to Gaza. I would never. ليش؟ الخليل ولا الغزازوة؟ الخليل ولا الغزازوة؟ ليش؟ I wouldn't marry from either one. Why? Just cause.
Some of that's so hard. I think you would have to do like more sit-down interviews and like really talk it out. I'm curious because there are so many reasons why you would say no to this if they're just simple questions. Like one reason might be that you've heard something about these people, but you've never seen them before. So you're like, no, fuck no, I don't think I would marry somebody there. A second reason might be because of maybe there are genuine ideological differences between the people that live in these towns, like that one girl said. Another one might be because of the idea that like families shouldn't marry certain families, like the thesis of that book. Or I guess the thesis of Kadar. Another reason might be impracticality of it. I'm not going to go travel somewhere else and marry somebody else. They don't know where they'd live afterwards. I feel like I need more than just like one question. It'd be interesting to hear somebody speak more at length about this, but I don't know if I'm going to get that in this video.
I hate this boss. I'm not buying
They have a difficult.
Are they
Not yet,
hiding
at
this
least.
clan issue? Is it a sensitive issue no one wants to mention, or is it not to do with this? It's impossible for me to say. I can't, based on like, because the questions are very simple, so it's hard to, it's just hard to say.
mindset.
A difficult mindset that we're talking
Also, keep in mind, like, there could be that pressure, but these people might not even know about it. So, like, for instance, like a form of like non-genetic inheritance, almost like where you tell a daughter or a son over and over again, like, hey, like, you can't go. We don't talk to these people. We don't like them. Blah blah blah, because they're way different than us, and fuck them. The parent might be, conveying to the child, like, oh, well, we just don't do it because they're different. The parent might be thinking, well, we don't do it because it's outside of our particular, like, lineage in terms of who we want to have children with.
This is what I wanted.
But like so the child might get that, but they don't get it directly. Like, I don't know.
Gimme.
These types of things have to be done in like a longer conversation, I think, to really know. It's hard to just look at like very simple answers and then just like, oh, it must be because of this reason, Like even in the U.S., like if you ask somebody, like you ask a white guy, like, hey, would you ever date a black girl? The guy might say no, but he could be saying no for a million different reasons. You truly have no idea, right? The guy himself might not have any idea if he's never even like seen like if he hasn't been socialized around different races, or he lives like in a heavily white area. He might not even have any idea. So.
Gazans or Hebron?
The Hebronites.
The Hebronites have a different mindset. Okay, explain the different mindset. Nobody knows who you are.
Difficult
It's
mindset.
difficult. Explain a difficult
كيف
mindset.
يعني صعبين؟ Traditions and customs. They're very restrained. We used to go to university and we would see the young people from Hebron. They're very restrained.
Okay.
I love people from Gaza.
Says the other one.
Says another one.
Yes. Okay.
Whose name is, silence, but she has nothing to do with silence. طيب okay, ليش? I just like them. I love them from long ago. Okay. بل حدا ما جاوبش؟
Wait, you know people in Gaza?
تعرفي حدا من غزة؟
Oh, so she's just basing this on politics.
معناها أنت بتحبيهم على أساس السياسة ولا على أساس based on anything?
Not based on
Everything.
anything.
Everything.
Based on everything, but she doesn't know anyone there.
Just Turkish.
Okay, fair enough. Would you marry someone from Gaza? Well, are you married, first of all? I should check. Okay. Okay. Would you, let's say your children, is it okay if they marry someone from Gaza?
Actually, no.
Why?
Because it's two different areas, two different cultures.
So what's the difference between the culture of Hebron and the culture of Gaza?
First of all, it's far away from us.
That's true.
We have to keep our children here. Second, it's different traditions.
So give me an example of a tradition that's very foreign from Gaza, that you know.
I don't know.
Okay.
But because it's far away from us.
Okay. Is it the same from someone from Nablus?
See, this could be the thing too, that like they're in their minds they're thinking geographically, but that could be a proxy for clan-based stuff, and they don't realize it, or it could literally just be practical reasons. But you just have to ask so many more questions to figure out like what's driving the thought here. It's hard to know, right?
No, it's different. Nablus have an hour and a half from Hebron, but Gaza.
Sorry, for Americans, an hour and a half drive is a long drive. Okay, Europeans and people in the Middle East and stuff sometimes think that these are far distances to drive.
No, it's different. Nablus have an hour and a half from Hebron, but Gaza you need authority.
Yeah, you need permits.
Yes, permits.
Okay. If, let's say,
Can I kill these guys?
it's a better situation and you don't need permits to go into
How do I
Gaza,
kill
and you
these
can go
guys?
easy, freedom of movement. It's
This
easy.
is really annoying.
Would that change your mind, or it's still because of the cultural differences?
Yeah, I have still I have the same decision. It's different.
Just because it's different cultures. Okay, fair enough. Would you marry someone from Gaza or Hebron?
No, I love to marry in Nablus
Okay, why? Why only someone in Nablus?
because I understand.
Oh.
كيف يعني؟ احكي لي.
Okay. يعني not clear يعني بس I love in married in Nablus.
طب لو حدا من رام الله بتقبلي تتزوجي بحدا من رام الله؟
حسب ممكن
عايش
يعني
بيعتمد.
ممكن مثلا
It
حسب
depends.
the personality. Number one, and the education.
That's what I
Number
came
two,
up with.
and
I didn't hear the first part.
family. Yes.
On the person's character. And
So it depends on the person's character, his education,
Yes.
and on the family he comes
and
from.
personality and
They don't want to sound racist, lol. Nobody in this region gives a fuck about sounding racist like people in America do. Trust me, it would never be about that. There might be other things that they're sensitive about, but it has nothing to do with sounding racist or not. Trust me.
Family and understand to me. Yes.
Okay, now is part of it because you have to move to the man's area? That's what's expected? You
no.
marry someone from Ramallah, do you have to move to Ramallah?
Married to Ramallah? Yes. Why not?
No, she didn't understand.
إذا تتزوجي حدا من رام الله لازم تنتقلي على رام الله؟
إذا أنا بتزوج من رام الله لازم أنتقل.
تعيشي في رام
إنه
الله؟
كمان برضه إنه حسب الشخص يعني حسب الهزبند يعني كمان برضه.
Depends on the husband also.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not for sure. So it really depends on who it is. But someone from Hebron or Gaza, no?
No. No Hebron or Gaza.
Okay,
no.
Why?
I refused. and I refused and أفضل.
But why?
عشان هو بعاد ولا عشان طريقة التفكير
No. Because the thing and ما في تناسب بيكون.
There's a difference of...
There's just
No.
a huge difference. There's just no,
Yes, difference
there's no
of
compatibility.
بالضبط.
Okay.
يعني إنه كمان برضه different في العادات والتقاليد. إيش بتحكوها أنتوا
it's a
العادات؟
huge difference.
Habits, yes.
Traditions,
Yes.
traditions and
Uh-huh.
norms and culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Are these Arabs or Jews being interviewed? These are all Arabs living in the West Bank. Palestinians living on the West Bank.
أجاكي حدا من غزة.
Wait, actually, I shouldn't say that. They should all be Palestinians or
I know
Arabs.
what this place is.
I think so far it's been people living all on the West Bank, right? But they were all West Bank cities.
تقبل تتزوجي؟
حسب.
Well, it depends. أشوف.
What?
لا مش شغلات مادية.
It's not something materialistic, of course.
بس يعني
عايش.
يمكن لأن المسافة بعيدة.
Perhaps because the distance is very far away, I wouldn't agree.
Okay. What about
I've
Nablus?
already been down there. That's where Mara goes. Very cool weapon from
حدا من رام الله.
So this was the shit that they showed. I could tell by the gate. Is an ice
That
dungeon.
would work because I actually have some family married in Ramallah. My sisters are married in Ramallah. Okay.
Okay. Would you marry someone from Gaza?
If he come to live here, yes.
Okay, you don't want to live in Gaza.
Yes. I don't want to have this. I don't know. It's not.
It's a problem.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you marry someone from Hebron?
I love Ramallah. I love staying here, but I would marry him and.
If he lived here,
Yes.
then it's okay.
Okay.
Even with a
What's the
different
problem?
mentality.
What's the problem?
Different
That-
mentality. يعني عندهم تفكير مختلف.
Okay, I think so. They have, but the person itself won't. I will choose him that he won't have this thing. I don't know if he have the same mind of them. I want.
So what's the mentality in Gaza and Hebron? Give me an example.
I didn't understand what the mentality.
كيف التفكير في غزة وخليل؟ كيف مختلف عنهم؟
I think يمكن عربي
تفضل.
انه عندهم انتماء فالخليل عندهم تفكير زي انه قديم اكثر زي انه مش متحررين.
The people from Hebron aren't very modern thinking. They're not very liberal thinking.
Damn, people just hate fucking Hebronites. Fuck, now I regret. I only went to H2. I didn't get to go into H1. Now I regret not getting to see the city proper.
They're more conservative. They have more old school thinking.
Okay. Same in Gaza?
نفس
No,
الشيء في غزة؟
no. In Gaza, I think they are more modern, but the environment there is not suitable for living.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Yes.
difficult.
Damn.
Yes, for sure.
مستعدة تتزوجي حدا من الخليل أو من غزة؟
وأنا من الخليل أصلاً.
I'm from Hebron actually.
Ah, okay. So, are you married to someone from Hebron? Are you married?
لا لا لا.
She's not married.
Would you marry someone from Gaza?
عادي بالنسبة لي ممكن عادي إذا أنا والشخص تمام بس ممكن الأهل لا.
I would find it fine if me and the person were getting along, but maybe my family wouldn't accept it so much.
Why wouldn't your family accept it?
ليش أهلك مش مستعد؟
عشان العادات والتقاليد وهيك يعني تختلف
Traditions
من
and
منطقة
customs
لمنطقة.
and also moving from one place to another.
Okay, but you see a difference in customs between Hebron and Gaza?
بتشوفي اختلاف في العادات والتقاليد بين الخليل وغزة؟
متهيألي في.
I do believe so, yes.
Can she give an example? I don't know.
مثال لأنه مش عارف هو مش
في
عارف.
عادات الزواج كثير في شغلات مختلفة يعني.
When it comes to marriage traditions, it's very different.
مثلا يعني حتى بالخطبه والزواج احنا بنكون خطبه بفتره بعيده قبل الزواج، هم قبل حفل الزفاف بيوم بتكون الخطبه او الحنه يعني. احنا ما في عندنا حنه.
How separated is Hebron from where these people live? Do they just never interact? I mean, they're not really that separated. Man, if I had to guess, Ramallah is probably like an hour away, if that. Directions to Hebron. Google Maps. I don't know. Let's check. I could be. Maybe I'm way off on that. I wonder if Google Maps won't connect because of gates or whatever. Three possible itineraries. Are these for buses? Maybe? I don't know. Well, probably like an hour drive away, I guess. It says the quickest route is 56 minutes, so no, they're not really that far away. Hebron is a pretty huge city, though, for... I wonder if it's the largest in the West Bank. I never went into it, but looking at it from afar, I was like, holy shit. Hold on, I think I have pictures. 1 second.
Could have put a cool weapon there. I could probably jump down to the Cerunian coast. So there's a dragon boss up here?
Oh, I could just Google pictures of it. I don't know why I'm...
Dragon Communion Harpoon.
Is this? No,
So
that's
I
some
must
other
have
place.
slain this with Harpoon. Let me try and get into its eye. I feel like there'll be something secret in there.
It's not even a
Oh,
good
that's
picture.
lovely.
Fuck.
Oh.
I was curious how it would look through the archways, but I didn't like how this picture even ended up looking. I think I needed to frame the background more. We'll look at pictures of it. You can kind of see through the background. This is a huge fucking city.
Nice.
I don't know what the I don't know what the population of Hebron
My
is.
lag, bruv. I'm getting 60 FPS. What am I talking about? Lag. It feels laggy. The fucking shriek. I wonder if I'm even meant to be up here.
Hebron population.
Bonfali.
782,000. That's got to be the biggest city in the West Bank, right? The second largest city in the West Bank after East Jerusalem. Oh, okay, whatever. Basically, yeah. Probably the largest Arab population, because I bet a lot of Jews live in East Jerusalem now too, right?
Where is the item that should be in here for me? Wow, no reward. I thought this was gonna be like a mountaintop of the giants where they give you
How
a
many
reward for being
Jews live
nifty.
in East Jerusalem
I guess
versus
not.
Arabs?
I guess real players don't get
2020 East Jerusalem had a
rewarded.
population of 595,000 inhabitants, which 360,000 were Palestinian Arabs and 234,000 were Jews. Okay, so almost 50-50.
Huh.
Not quite, 60-40.
Hey, how my curse is getting off.
Okay. Did he say he was going to watch the debate tonight? I literally have it in my title. Do I not? Did I not put this in my title? Debate tonight.
Are we gonna sit?
I didn't have room for presidential debate. Okay, hold on 1 sec.
Oh my. Dragon looks terrified. Definitely died in battle. The game really made it tough for you to scale this. What's up there? What the fuck is this? Why is the sky fucking red? Brett. There's a finger. Sorry, there's a dragon overlooking some fingers. Are you serious? That's not good.
Standing or sitting on the city wall were shooting into the windows to kill Jews in their homes. Only afternoon, when the sun is in their eyes, you could open the windows to the east. Are you willing to live in such a place? Any American would agree to live in such a situation when he cannot open the windows to one direction because the Mexicans are shooting into his windows? What will do America to Mexico if this happened? But this is how we lived for 19 years.
I don't know how common it was that people from East Jerusalem would shoot it. I don't know if that's true, and I don't know how many data or stats for that. But
and under this illegal occupation of Jerusalem, which was by the Jordanians, and thank God we got rid of it.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say the Jordanian occupation, you said it to Stephen as well, that the Jordanian occupation of Jerusalem and West Bank as well, you say it was illegal. Why was the Israeli occupation not illegal? Or was it to you?
Because according to the San Remo decisions of the League of Nations, which are valid until this very day, according to Chapter 80 of the Charter of the United Nations, all the space between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea are designed for the Jewish people. San Remo decisions. This is the decision of the world, let alone the Bible. I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm talking about the modern time legal basis of the existence of the state of Israel. This land was allocated, was given, was granted by the League of Nations to the Jewish people before, in 1920, before the Second World War, and was adopted by the United Nations in the Charter, Article 80.
That just isn't true. The early legal stuff and what the actual implications were, I think there's like a little bit of interpretation that goes into like how exactly who was granted what. I don't think there was anything like too solid promised to any particular group of people. Not to sound like I'm simming for one side, but the strongest promise of anything in the mandatory Palestinian area would have been to the future state of Israel. There was never an explicit promise made for any kind of Palestinian state. So if you want to make a legal argument, it would probably rest on that. I think some people draw from San Remo. Some people draw just from there's a concept in international law about emerging states inheriting borders from prior things. But
so this is why Israel has all the rights to be on all the space.
He seems more unhinged in his convo versus Lonerbox, or with Lonerbox versus you for his justification about land. Well, because Lonerbox is getting into more political questions, whereas I think mine were mainly kind of like historical. His political stuff we get wackier. 35 minutes left. Trust me, when we get to Europe, his political stuff starts to get pretty wacky.
In the river and the sea. This is why today those who want to wipe Israel altogether say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I say, okay, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free from any other occupation. It's okay.
So you're telling me in San Remo they said that there's a part in San Remo where they say that Israel is
San Remo,
the entire thing?
Convention of April of 1920. Unfortunately, the world doesn't know about this. But this is the legal basis of the existence of the state of Israel. Later came the mandate, 1923, which was...
Why'd you give Lonerbox so much time? Well, I think this guy said he wanted to chat for about 2 hours. Since I go first usually in our interviews, I tried to cut it off at about an hour because I didn't want to cut into Lonerbox's time. But I guess he didn't mind chatting for longer than that, so I just didn't want to chat for 2 hours, and then he's like, oh, I don't want to talk to this guy now. I'm trying to be polite.
Britain got this area, France got the northern, Syria and Lebanon, to establish states within 25 years based on mass migration of Jews to this country. This was the Mandate Charter. Britain betrayed us by the white paper. And without this British betrayal, millions of Jews could be saved from the Holocaust. Because many of the Jews could come to this country under the mandate if Britain allowed them. And Hitler, when he saw that no country accepted, he wanted Europe to be Judenrein, means without any Jews, clean of Jews, as if Jews are filthy. Clean of Jews.
Good.
And he sent, there was a ship named St. Louis, which to carry 900 Jews from Hamburg, went to Cuba. They didn't allow us to go. They went to the United States. They didn't allow us. They went to Canada, to Halifax, in Nova Scotia. And the Canadian Minister of Migration said, none is too many of these 900. So they returned to Hamburg and they were sent to extermination. So when the Hitler saw that no country, Britain made a whole blockade on this country, on Palestine, Eretz Israel, Palestine, the land of Israel, as the name was of the man that was, and they didn't allow Jews to come. And neither of those countries never allowed Jews.
Do you think it's a tenable position to forever deny Palestinians a state or citizenship? Nope.
To come. So we exterminated them in 1941. Started this final solution.
Oh my God.
If Britain, no, the
dragons fight outside the arena.
Cuba didn't have a commitment. Canada didn't have commitment, but Britain
oh my
did
God, where's the second health bomb?
by the mandate to allow mass migration of Jews to their homeland, and they betrayed us. And somehow the British succeeded to sneak out from the infamous list of nations which cooperated with Hitler. They are responsible. I'm not trying to reduce the responsibility of Hitler for the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were exterminated. But without the British bloc...
How did the British betray the Jews? So initially, Britain promised, through the Balfour Declaration, to create a homeland for the Jews in Palestine. And so Jewish people were like, oh, cool, we've got a place to go where we can be free of persecution. However, after there was was Peel the Prime Minister? Oh, fuck, I remember. Peel, there was something called the Peel Commission, the white paper. Great Britain did a big investigation in 1936 to figure out, well, what the fuck is going on in this area that the Arabs and the Jews keep fighting with each other. We don't know why they're not getting along. And in 37, there was a white paper that was published called the Peel Commission. They basically said, okay, listen, we think there probably needs to be 2 states here because these guys aren't getting along. It was the first time that was recommended. In response to that, the Arabs had a huge revolt in the area. They were like, fuck this is bullshit. They're not having any fucking state here. Okay, you're not splitting us up. This is our land, fuck you. The Brits put down that rebellion, but afterwards, the Brits turned to the Jews and they were like, listen, you guys are causing way too much trouble here, so we are now going to heavily restrict your ability to immigrate to this region. And so for about 5 years after 39, Jewish people fought with the British government because they're like, wait, what the fuck? This is bullshit. And then the years that I said, from 39 to 44, right, during the Holocaust, a lot of Jews think, or they would claim, well, no, I mean, it's probably true. A lot of Jews say, like, hey, we should be able to just go to Palestine. Like, wouldn't that be cool? Like, the Jewish homeland that you guys promised us in 1917, you committed to having a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. Can't we, like, go there now? This would be a really good time for us to do that because we're kind of being killed by the millions. Wouldn't that be awesome? And I was like, well, no, sorry. We are restricting immigration to, I think it was 10,000 a year or maybe less, but we're heavily restricting immigration. Not allowed to. So some Jews, if they're cognizant of this history,
why was that
will say that, like, you guys are... You fucked us really hard, that millions of us were Holocausted and we could have just went to Palestine, but because you gave in to Arab violence in the late 30s, you basically enabled them to block us from coming here, and so now half our population died. Thanks a lot, basically. So they would blame Britain for that.
Okay, on this country, the Holocaust was not in such a magnitude as it was.
Yeah, well, I'm Scottish, so I have no problem blaming British people for things.
No, they betrayed us because of their accounts with the Arabs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say, so do you, because I imagine with what you said about San Remo guaranteeing all of the river to the sea to Israel, I feel like there are Israeli historians, I think especially Bernard Wasserstein, who would disagree with that, no? Is it Wasserstein? The guy who writes about mandate period. I feel like there's a bit of a disagreement about whether or not it was actually allocated to all of Israel, the river to the sea, because I think there's clarifications from Balfour a bit later on where they say that it's always understood that the declaration was to do with part of Palestine, not all of it.
I know about documents. Read the document and see for yourself.
Oh, it's just Pacific.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on it. Okay. Moving away from Middle East, I wasn't able to find you talking that much about Islam in...
By the way, San Remo.
Zionist leaders Chaim Weizmann and David Ben-Gurion of the Jewish Agency were both firmly opposed to Jews being allowed into being allowed entry into Western countries, hoping that the pressure of hundreds of thousands of refugees having nowhere to go would force Britain to open Palestinian Jewish immigration. Is this true, or is this super biased framing? It might be true. If you're reading anything on Wikipedia, I would be very, very careful. Wikipedia tends to slant very heavily pro-Palestinian because a lot of the most active editors on there will fight to the death to edit things in the most biased, pro-Palestinian way possible. So if you ever see something like that written on Wikipedia, just hunt down the sources and try to read where the quotes come from, so that you can get an idea of what the sourcing is. Also, and I emphasized this when I debated that one PhD guy a while ago, timelines are essential when you're talking about this era. Saying that somebody was opposed to Jews immigrating west in 1939 is significantly different than them saying they're opposed to Jews immigrating west 3 years later. The huge differences. So the timelines and the dates published are essential. Okay.
Oh my God!
People will sometimes. Again, this happened with that one PhD guy. I feel like there's another debate where this happened. The timelines and the dates are very important on this because the circumstances of the world and what people were aware of were significantly different. The idea of somebody saying I don't think we want Jews to go to the West. We should not let that happen so they can come here to Palestine. That's different before people know that the Holocaust is happening. Okay, that's way different. Which I believe was in late 41, early 42. I think is when that started to become more publicized. So just be very, 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 very aware of timelines on that. That's very important.
That's probably this.
Yeah. When did the world find out about Holocaust? Let me check. I think the first time I thought it was in late 41, and then started to come out around 42. Well, when did the world find out about the Holocaust? Let's ask the Jewish Virtual Library. Information regarding mass murder of Jews began to reach the free world soon after the actions began in the Soviet Union in late June 1941, and the volumes of such reports increased with time. Early system information include German police reports, Liberation Intelligence. As early as March 42, reports from Nazi planned to murder all the Jews, including details and methods. First media reference to murder of Jews in the Polish Home Army publication Bull. Don't care. 1942. When was the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising? Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, Wikipedia.
What's making this look so ugly?
It was in 1943.
It's definitely not gross. Is it this?
In 42, Jews were shipped to ghetto. Okay, so maybe it's 42, 43. Regardless, my point stands. Make sure that the dates are very, 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 very important. Is essentially what I'm trying to get at.
This DLC is crazy.
You should interview a lawyer named Jabotier.
Dark Souls 3 wishes it was 10% of this DLC.
Get to him. He will explain to you.
Damn, what a dog shit
better
game.
English than mine.
Okay.
He actually has
I'm even embarrassed I played it in level 1.
Of the San Remo decision.
A waste of my time. Shit.
Jabotier.
What a shit DLCs, what a shit game, man.
Yeah, I read San Remo once. I guess the problem was I just found it it's there's a lot of ambiguity, right? That's why there was confusion about what happens to Jordan afterwards, because it's not really mentioned in San Remo, but the British thought it included it because of Sykes-Picot, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. So coming to Europe, I haven't seen you write that much about Muslims and Islam in Europe, but I think you did at one point join, I think you were, was it an assistant director or an advisor to an organization called Stop Islamization of Nations, 2012, 13?
It was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, what did you, what was your role in that organization? Are you still with them, or?
Just one of the members of many people who joined the organization ran by Pamela Geller in New York. And look, if you zoom out to see what happens today in the world, especially in Europe, is that this migration jihad, and this is another kind of jihad. Jihad, I don't know if you know, but jihad has all kinds of facets, all kinds of manifestations. There is the jihad by sword,
1070 is getting
fighting jihad.
maxed the
There's
fuck out.
economic jihad, the BDS movement, boycott and divestment from Israel.
I'm not aware in Islam where there are different types of jihad like specified. I don't know if this is in any of the hadiths or not. I've never heard of this before. I think in general, I think the understanding is just that jihad is just anytime you're engaged in a fight for Islam against a non-Muslim, against an infidel, I think. I guess theoretically it could extend to that. It can refer to almost any exertion or effort to make personal and social life conform with God's guidance, such as internal struggle against one's evil inclinations, proselytizing, or efforts towards the betterment of the Muslim community, the Ummah. So I guess it theoretically could be then. I don't know, like if it's specifically mentioned in any writing or whatever, but
there is media jihad. Al Jazeera defines itself. I mean, Qaradawi define Al Jazeera as media jihad. Okay, there is arson jihad. If you burn a church, if you burn a synagogue, if you burn something which belongs to the infidels. Actually, jihad is whatever a Muslim is doing as a person or as a community in order to enhance the cause of Islam on the expense of the infidels. This is the idea of jihad. It could be by sword, it could be by many other things. Migration is one of them. Birth jihad is you bring kids to the world. What happens today in Europe is...
Somebody said, jihad is very often used in the Quran, and I believe less than half the times referring to actual wars or conflict with other people. The Ben Gurion quote retards like to trot out is, if I knew that it was possible to save all the Jewish children in Germany by transporting them to England, but only half by transporting them to Palestine, I would choose the second. Okay. It is from the 30s.
What am I? Oh,
well, wait, what do you mean it's from the 30s? What would he be saving them from?
Both.
I can't believe this is accessible so early on in the game.
If you combine both together, you see that this new jihad, new kind, peaceful kind of jihad.
Why is the sky so ugly?
But you see in Sweden, in Malta,
maxed out my settings.
But in other places as well. What you see in France, what you see in Britain, what you see in Spain, Belgium. You know, there are already many towns, cities with an Islamic majority.
Jews were persecuted before the official Holocaust start date in Germany. Sure, the Holocaust was the death camps. Before that was the concentration camps. When were the major... I thought this was like mid to late 30s for... I don't actually know when the concentration camps started. Concentration camps for Jews. Wikipedia. From 33 to 45. So when did he make that quote? Was it in like 39 or 38 or... I don't know. Death camp started in 41.
What does it mean? And the birth rate that they have is more than double than the European one. What will be the next generation? It's mathematics, it's not even statistics. You can very easily calculate. If you stop the migration, only birth rate will bring them to majority within 30 years, 40 years, depends where. When the birth rate of Europeans is somewhere between 1 and 2 children per woman, closer to 1 than to 2, while the migrants have 4, 5, thanks to the benefits which they get wherever they are. Why not? When the demand of kinds of things, and you can see the demanding only increasing, to have halal food, not to allow kids in the school to come with pork sandwiches. To that degree, because they don't want to smell it. To that degree. Not only what they eat, what the others eat. They don't like bells of churches. They don't like contraceptives sold in pharmacies. They don't like alcoholic beverages. And
how would you argue against this argument? I think, as I said before, I don't think there is as much of a cohesive feeling of like jihad or like Islam as I think you would think. This is like an intuition I have, and it doesn't really push me one way or another, but I'm curious to the data. It wouldn't surprise me if I don't know, there's like a poll or some data you can look up. It wouldn't surprise me if in Europe, first generation Muslims produced more radical second or third generation Muslims, or that like, or rather, if you looked at your most radical, like second or third generation Muslims, my guess is they probably came from not as radical first generation immigrants. Like they're more radical. That'd be my guess. I feel like from a over the ocean view, it feels like people that resort to kind of like the more Islamic extremist or fundamentalist or whatever shit in Europe usually do so out of like desperation, or they feel like they're not integrating in society or for whatever bullshit. Like it's more that more than like yes, we've made it to the European lands. Let us begin our reproductive jihad. Would be my guess.
I've already
In
been there.
some places where they have the majority, you cannot anymore find alcoholic beverages in the supermarkets because the city hall is by majority of Muslims. This happens already. So this an encroachment of demands.
Destiny, that's not what the science shows. Second and third generation Muslims were the ones joining ISIS, while their parents were quite secular who fled there.
What's a place I get low FPS at?
No, in France, in many places, you have to keep every night the shift of, let's say, X-ray technicians, a man and a woman. Although both don't have anything to do during the night, but you have to keep both. Why? Because if a man comes, like let's say a road accident, and he needs an X-ray, a man will take his X-ray. If
Lonerbox said this is an internal European problem and doesn't have as much to do with Islam as just disaffected young men. Yeah, kind of. But the issue is that I think Islam is scary and dangerous because it gives you, there's just a lot of real world application to it. Judaism and Christianity don't feel like they have as much real world application. I guess for Christians it's like fucking abortion or whatever, and maybe sticking 10 commandments in fucking courthouses. But Islam just has so much real world implication for a government and how to act aggressively towards others. It would be scary to see somebody turn to that in desperation rather than like another type of religion. I think that Islam might unlock a little bit more there, but not like as some unified invading power. More just as like, well, if this is what you gravitate towards, it could
Wow,
produce.
I just don't get any FPS boost.
It could produce worse outcomes. Maybe. I don't feel strong about that. But that's like I'll give you a 20% conviction on that. Do you think the reason American Muslims are more chill is because it's harder to immigrate here? I think that's part of it, but I also feel like in America, because we don't have a strong shared ethnicity, I think it's easier for us to integrate other types of people into this country. The United States is, for as much as Nazis might want to argue opposite, is very much like a melting pot of different ethnic groups. I think it's easier to take in other ethnic groups and have them integrated into this culture. Whereas even in Western Europe, even in Scandinavia, like the ethnic lines tie in more than in America to their nationality lines, which probably makes it a bit harder for integration of foreign people. And then there's also the selection filter. You get a lot different types of people immigrating that can just go by land rather than having to take a plane ticket or be referred by the UNHCR or whatever as well. So.
Quality.
if a woman comes, a woman will take it because they don't allow or they don't like men to take the X-ray of a woman and vice versa. Who can afford it? So you have to double the budget of the X-ray division and other divisions as well, let alone all kinds of other diseases which they never allow men to treat women and vice versa. So this is demands which come more and more and more to
Destiny. Islam is uniquely unable to perform ever due to ideas like religious innovation, the Quran being exactly transmitted from Allah versus Christians being able to say LOL, Paul is being Paul in this part, just ignore this. You could do it. You can do it with any fucking religion. I don't even feel like there's that big of a difference between how the Quran was written versus the Bible. But maybe, I don't know, maybe they just teach it to Catholics different. In Islam, the Torah, or not the Torah, I'm sorry, the Quran like supposedly comes straight from Allah to Muhammad, who supposedly can't even read or write, and then basically writes it down. I think like through that like brain transmission process. But for biblical scripture that was written by, Matthew, Mark, Luke, Gospel writers, Paul, whoever the fuck, that was supposed to be divinely inspired. Like, it's supposed to be like you're writing under the divine inspiration of God in being correct when you write these things. It's not just people writing stories. They're writing with divine inspiration. I feel like it's not that big of a difference between divine inspiration and like the direct, like, 11:10 a.m. transmission from God. But I don't know. If Christians can, or if Catholics can have like, councils to vote on, which Bible verses they believe in and which Bible verses they don't, or which books they want to include in canon or which books they don't. Or if like Muslims can divide among Sunni and Shia sects, if some can believe, in the strength of the validity of some hadiths over others, if some think that, for Shias that Muhammad named his children, what's the word I'm looking for? Versus in Sunni, they think it wasn't named. They don't know who it was. I mean, there's a way to do it. There's always a way to do it. The fact that Muslims live in America and they're relatively chill, the fact that Muslims live in Israel and they're relatively chill, I think proves that as much as anything else, I would say. But
the European countries, and you can actually read a magnificent book written by Douglas Murray, The Strange Death of Europe. It is in English. And this is what happens in Europe. And believe me, the Atlantic Ocean is not wide enough to keep America away from this danger. And when you see today what happens in the American campuses, you find Europe like 10 years ago. This is how it started in Europe, in the campuses, which are open, which are liberal, which are inviting, which are inclusion, everybody, let them come, it's okay. Okay, in Europe they have the remorse on colonialism, which they brought migrants from the third world countries after the colonialism. America doesn't suffer from this remorse about what they did to the occupied people in Africa, for example, because the Americans were not colonialists, they were colonized. God. But in America you have other problems, the woke, which today controls everything in America. And everybody is entitled to his story. Everybody, and look, they were actually caught. There is a document named the Explanatory. They were colonized. But in America, you have other problems of the woke, which today controls everything in America.